Hello everyone, and welcome to today's Helm developer call on Thursday, January the 23rd. Before we start, small note, this call falls under the CNCF Code of Conduct, so please be kind and polite. The call is also recorded, so if you don't wish to be on camera, please turn off your camera. To kick us off, we'll see what's on the agenda, which we have no announcements at the moment. Does anybody have any announcements to add to the? Okay, sounds like we are not going to have any announcements today, so we will move on to discussion. Ingi, we have a clarification for issue 13472.
Yeah, that was it's just I don't, it's just a little bug, but I actually want to make sure I understand how post renderer works because so the bug was that if you specify minus minus post renderer multiple times, it just takes the last one, which is just kind of weird. And then Evans misunderstood it at first, and then I explained it, and he said check, but then this other guy came back a couple days ago and said, no, it's doing it right. But then I didn't understand his explanation through my explanations. So basically, I'm just wondering, it kind of came down to my question is the post renderer only gets standard in, right? It can't see anything else. It can't see the original command. I was a bit confused by what he was positing. That's Quinn Zhang 2 days ago. I think he just misunderstood, but I just wanted to.
To me, it doesn't really make sense to take multiple post render flags and ignore all of them except for the last one. I don't know if this is just a way that Cobra works, the command line interface thing. I know the action object only has one post renderer option. I would classify this as a bug.
Okay.
There is a small argument that it's working. That if we start erroring with multiple post renderer flags as specified, then that might break someone out there who's somehow accidentally relying on this. I wouldn't disagree. We just have to be careful about the
compatible, can we? Helm overall.
I think for Helm 4 we can change this. I would be wary about changing it for Helm 3.
Okay. Okay. I don't care what happens. I just pointed it out as a bug.
Yeah, according to the code, the post render flag is just a string. So it's a single instance, and if you do it multiple times, it'll keep whatever the last one was.
It does actually check them though, because I did, like, if you put something that's not in your path in there, like it will blow up, but then it will ignore it. It checks that to make sure it exists, and then it ignores it, which is interesting.
That's interesting because it's just it's post render string. Args is a slice, so post render args you can specify multiple times, and it'll put them on the slice. But
yeah, the implementation looks like it's just a single thing. I wonder if this is a product of Cobra more than anything else.
Yeah. The only point I wanted to make sure was that, like, the post renderer only gets standard in, right? Is that
correct?
Okay.
Yeah, it receives standard in and it expects standard out.
Yeah, strictly you can't even rely on someone could use the post renderer with the SDK, so there may not even be a Helm CLI command.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a script. The script gets standard in, it sticks standard out. Even I don't know what, I bet you standard errors ignored. I haven't looked, but it probably just takes standard in, sends the standard out, and lets you do any kind of transform you want in the middle. Is basically it. And what it gives you in standard in is the final rendered YAML that it would send to Kubernetes, and then lets you do whatever you want in that script.
right? And if you
Yeah.
want to stack multiple ones, you do it yourself.
The
Uh,
flag type
Standard.
the flag type is a custom type, and there's a set command or yeah, set method. So when Cobra calls set, it does run a post render new exec, so that's why it's throwing an error. But that'll just get replaced with the next time you set the flag.
I see, I see. Okay,
So even if it's a product of Cobra, Helm could probably change to say if the number of post renderer flags is more than one, just to error and say like, no, you specified more than one. So
Right,
I
that
think
probably happens
Helm's
on
behavior
lots of flags.
could be
that all-
amended.
Yeah,
To
okay,
me, it would make sense to do that with Helm 4. It seems like, how do I say this? By supporting multiple flags, it would kind of imply to the user that each post renderer would get executed in sequence, and then
right.
That would be the. It's kind of a weird behavior to truncate and take the last one. So we should, in my opinion, we should either fix it in one or two ways. Either we should support multiple post renderer flags and they should be run in sequence, or we should only support one and only support one, and error if there's more than one.
Well, it's really easy to stack them yourself, but I think,
Yeah.
well,
Yes.
I don't, yeah. Maybe not, anyway.
So let's put this on the issue and follow up on the issue. I don't know if it's worth going a slightly off topic here. There's another interesting behavior of the post renderer, which I think you created an issue for, Ingi, which is if the post renderer returns nothing, Helm just proceeds.
I was just gonna mention that. I could think of a use case, like if you wanted to have a post renderer that was a validator or something like that, you might want to have it do nothing, right?
But then you would just return an error code.
Or if it passes, yeah, you would
If it
what
passes,
would you,
if it
like you just want to use the post render to check. Would that be a valid use case?
yeah,
So you could use the post render to check, and if it failed, that's checks, then you would return like a non-zero error code and Helm would
And
error.
if it passes, then what?
Then if it passes, you just return the standard in verbatim standard out.
or just return nothing.
Why?
And do its thing.
But well, that's what I'm saying. It would be valid to return nothing in that case because you didn't really want. I mean, you would
I
trigger
thought-
it by install. I think there's 3 commands that trigger the post renderer. Maybe
Okay.
that's, yeah, we can move on.
I thought when you returned nothing, Helm did nothing. Was that not true? Or does Helm take an empty string result as a post renderer? It did nothing, so just
I'd
continue with the
imagine Helm
original.
would do. Oh, I see. Helm, not Kubernetes. Oh.
Anyway, well, this is off topic, so
Yeah.
let's keep on moving forward in the interest of time.
Okay.
So, Robert, Helm to Noon question.
Yes, I'm gonna keep this quick because Austin needs some time today to talk. I want to know if I can use this Zoom instance for a Helm to Noon that we host on Wednesdays to allow people like Benedito here to just come on and get access to some of us and to have kind of a standard collab session for us to jump on. Is this okay, or do I need to find another platform? Matt's coming off camera, so maybe he has. Matt's giving a thumbs up. Anybody else have an issue with using this instance?
No, it's what we've done previously, and it's convenient.
Okay, make it 100%. Thank you.
The only thing I'd say, speak to Karen if you want to record. I don't know if you want to record.
I don't think those need to be
recorded.
recorded. It's just like an open office hours. I don't think it's something we need to record.
Oh, yeah, I think we should use this.
But not record.
Perfect. Okay. Scott, this very old PR needs one more maintainer review, and this is pool 10309. Add hook annotation to output hook logs to client on error. Any more comments?
Yeah, the only comment is I know that to like take away a little bit of cognitive overload, Matt Farina, or maybe the only Matt on the call, right? Yeah, you had made a request, and that request was done, and that was it. So probably just needs another glance. I don't
Okay.
have much
Okay.
more to say about it. Is that any other maintainer on the call is welcome to look. I think, Matt, if you didn't have time, that's also okay. I think your review could be, your request could be dismissed because it's very clearly finished. But you could also look at it if you have time, or anyone can. Yeah,
I
and then
will try to get a look at it today.
awesome. Okay.
Yep.
It helps. It helps. Oh yeah, you can see the reaction. Everyone can see the reactions on it a lot. It would help a lot of folks track down,
Cool.
you know, stuff.
Yeah, I will try and take a look as well. I've just been heads down and WASM plugin stuff at the moment. But
You need
aside, okay, and one more, Scott. So you had pull 12879, null values.
Yes, we had a conversation about this in a previous call. I think, Robert, you were asking because you weren't really sure what it was about. I think generally it does not need any more clarification. This is functionality that's been in Helm for years. It's just that there were some use cases where our coalescing logic is a little bit of a mess, and we all know it. So this adds some more unit tests around different use cases that folks are bringing up. There was one issue that someone brought up at the end about possibly like there could be a way to have multiple globals that like conflict with one another at some point, but this only fixes issues that people are already raising. And I think we know that we're going to have to address coalescing logic a little bit better in Helm 4. So that's the context for this PR, is that it fixes things, it's got tests. That's it.
Okay. I will also try and take a look. Moving forwards. Any more items for discussion? I'm going to one myself very quickly. I will find the issue. There was a someone made a fairly clear reproduction case where an incoming null value, not in a subchart, was kept in the coalescing logic. Hopefully, it's fixed by this PR.
Did you link it to me and we can see? I can actually check that. I'm pretty invested in fixing this, but if you can.
I will find it. I forgot about this before the meeting, and then this null value thing reminded me. So yeah, maybe we'll just include in the previous discussion. I'll find this. I'll send it to you, and then I can stick it on when I find the issue on the developer notes as well. All right. Moving forward. Anything more for discussion? Okay. Review. Austin, floor is yours.
Sweet. Yeah, I have the hip out there. I think George and Matt, you guys both gave a review. I put in some updates. I put in an implementation since then. I do have a couple of questions. I don't know how the hip reviews in these usually go, but
We just have to go through and from memory, I don't think there's anything really controversial on the hip itself. So we probably just need to nitpick on the details some, and then yeah, agree that it's good to implement.
This is on my radar. It dropped off. I will also review it. I know Matt already has, and I'll look at it today for sure.
sweet. I guess to kind of give quick question or a couple quick questions. One is like Helm EDE tests. Is there EDE tests that are expected or that like can be implemented?
Sorry, what's the question?
Is there like EDE tests that I should target in Helm? So I have like unit tests for the PR, but should I have like a test of like, hey, here's something with a CRD, a chart that creates a CRD, and like here's an EDE flow of like wait now happens here.
What you can do is on something like install and upgrade tests. If you go to the install command and the upgrade command, you'll see some flows where we do test it. We don't have EDE tests right now where we spin up a full Kubernetes stack and then actually test it. You're going to see certain things are mocked and saved and stuff like that. But that's a good place to also go look for the more comprehensive external user doing something and making sure it continues to work.
I would argue that, how do I say this, that case status integration tests belong with case status. Helm using case status. We need to comprehensively show that Helm is using case status correctly. but I don't think we need like an end-to-end test to show that K status works with Helm. Like, does that kind of? I think that probably
I
helps your
guess
situation.
my thought is like I want to make sure like even without case status, we're saying like, hey, Helm, this chart has a CRD in it. We wait, and then at the end, like the CRD is ready or so. But I mean, I can see the argument.
Yeah, if you go to the command directory
Mhm.
for Helm and you search for wait, you're actually going to see a number of wait tests there already.
Okay, yeah,
And so, yeah, if you wanted to expand on that to add something like CRDs, I'm not sure whether CRDs are in that, but we do wait on certain things happening. Like there's, we test the wait on for jobs flags, things like that.
neat. And then kind of a general question of like Helm 4. So there's like the Kubernetes interface with interface extensions. Are you guys planning to like coalesce those back into an interface? Like, where are the breaking changes in the library that were?
There are already some PRs out there to do that, I believe.
Okay.
Yes, we are
Have a
planning
quick
and
search.
turning everything back into the Kubernetes interface. We've got one nice clean interface from the broken experience we have today. Yeah.
Cool, sweet. Yeah, I think my PR touches some of that, but we can get into the details later. And then like Helm hooks have special logic. I guess stop me if I'm getting too much into detail. But like Helm hooks have special logic. Do we want to keep special logic for Helm hooks waiting, or just move it back to
There's a
regular
hint
logic?
out there to discuss some of that. It's
So-
it's not directly the same as yours, right? Because this is about case status and specifically about that kind of weighting. But there
Mhm.
is, or awaiting, let's just say, but there is a hip to have more conversation about how hooks could integrate with that. Maybe it's worth
Yeah, I think the hooks, we want them to generally be the same. And the reason is if somebody takes a chart for Helm v3 today and uses it in Helm version 4, and they've got hooks and weighting, they're going to expect those same things because they tested it one way and expected an installation to happen a certain way. And you don't want a change in Helm to like radically break or cause changes in how an application's installed. So I think we're going to want the charts hooks the way they are today to stay approximately the same.
This
You're
is
saying continue
this-
to
yeah.
support the existing hooks at the very least.
Mhm.
Right, Matt?
Okay.
Well, we also wanted to, we wanted to operate roughly the same. So, I mean, if somebody has a chart they installed today and it's expected waiting to happen in a certain way and they install it, they're going to want that chart to install the same way in Helm version 3 and Helm version 4.
Gotcha.
Right.
Because I should look into it more. I think is the hooks waiting like separate from the wait flag? It like will wait for the hooks either way.
I can't remember right now. I have to go look at the code.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
But this
I might.
this isn't. Sorry, you go finish.
No, I'm good.
Yeah. I was going to say, this is something in general. Like, yes, we are making Helm 4, and we can change how Helm 4 behaves.
Mhm.
But we do want to take a strong position where if you've got a chart and it's working with Helm 3, we want that chart to continue to work with Helm 4. And it's more about like if we if Helm 3 only works with certain charts and Helm 4 only works with certain charts, then we end up
Yep.
where we end up in an awkward situation for users. So yeah, we do really have to, even though yes, Helm 3 to Helm 4 can make changes, we do have to really take a strong position that everything that works with Helm 3 should continue to work with Helm 4.
And for changes we want to make to charts, we'll do a new API version of charts and make the changes there. So the existing charts all work the way that they have. We don't want to make any kind of breaking changes.
Cool.
Yeah. So, and just to be clear, what I meant, Matt, and asking you to clarify is that it's not to say that there couldn't be other ways that hooks could work, or even other concepts for that. I'm not saying we are going to do that, but just there's nothing saying we can't do that as long as we support the way the existing charts work, so that there's no surprise by users like Matt and
we want no surprises. But if we're going to add new hooks and things like that, we should do that into the new version of charts that we're discussing. Just so the current ones, because
Exactly.
It's really about compatibility.
Mhm.
Don't break things is a big thing. Don't break
Okay.
my
Remember-
charts is what I keep hearing.
Remember, remember Python 3 wasn't compatible with Python 2, and it was a big, I don't want to swear, but something show.
And people like us still talk about it today. You don't want to be that.
Yeah.
Don't
I mean,
replace
one
Python as the
interesting-
example.
Yeah. One interesting thing, like, now that you mention it, is like we could have, so my implementation keeps the old waiter and adds a new waiter and interfaces it out with a waiter interface. I guess theoretically you could have the new charts API use the new waiter and the old charts API use the old waiter, but again, getting into details.
Yeah, I was going to say something probably on the hip. I couldn't remember if it was there or not, but yeah, we probably could make the new waiter a default in Helm 4 because I think it should be largely compatible, but we'd probably want a CLI flag to say like use the
Yeah,
old
yeah.
wait system if needed. But anyway, the details for the hip. In the interest of time, is there anything else to cover on?
I'd only
think
like to make one quick note on that for discussion for later, is that I'd like to enter the conversation about how the idea of expanding our plugin system might even tie into things like this for the next time we talk about it.
Yes, ideally this would be a plugin, but we'll get there. We'll get there. Interest of time. Is there anything else to add? Otherwise, we can move to shoutouts. Does anybody have a shout out? Any shout outs?
I do.
Going once, good. Okay.
Shout out to Robert and Matt and George for, I think there are others if I'm missing you, for sorry, but like for like continuing to help with the PR and issue review. I've been doing it too, and just thanks for you all. It's like great to feel like team spirit around it. Shout out to Matt for again going through the release process with me. We've done it a number of times, and we want to like have other maintainers do that too. I know Robert, you want to, so that's great. And I wanted to shout out to Ingi for like your persistence in, I mean, first of all, thanks for YAML and your persistence in like helping to develop improvements in YS and like talking with us about the future.
Thank you. Yeah, appreciate the shout outs.
Also George and Andy collaborating on the plugin stuff. I'm like really like excited about it, and it's nice to have a team doing it for Helm 4.
I want to give a shout out to Scott for all those shout outs. I think that was that's good. Yeah, like getting some positivity back and encouraging people is like, that means a lot. It's like, so thank you.
And I'll shout out
Yes,
Scott
thank you.
for like hunting me down and making me do things. Sometimes I need those reminders.
We got to do
It's
that
funny.
coffee sometime, Joe, since we're like a train ride apart.
Totally.
You have to come up and see what Linwood's all about.
Nice.
Isn't that where you're at the top of the line?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Right. Thank you everyone for the for the shout out. So I do agree, positivity is good, and it does actually over time keep the wheels moving. So keep it up the good work, team. Thank you. Social media amplification. Assignments in the last 3 minutes. Moderator. Any takers? I don't mind doing it again.
I can take it if
We can share. Scott's notes. I suck at notes. Every time I say I'm going to do it, I forget. Does anybody else want to do notes?
Can do notes next week.
Thank you, Karen.
Be there
issue
for
triage.
put me down, and also for PRs, because that's what Helm News are for.
Nice, thank you. When are you doing those? I can try and join. I just haven't seen the.
I was gonna do Wednesday 3 to 4 Eastern, so it's afternoon.
Okay. You want to just ping on the maintainer channel on Wednesday morning and
Yeah,
on the Helm Dev channel?
I'm still trying to figure out how to properly communicate it out. Yeah.
Awesome. I will do some peer review. I can be present next week. Sounds like Scott can. Anybody else? Roberts. And anybody else up for issue triage or PR review?
PR review.
Got peer review.
Actually, put me down for issue 2. Specifically, maybe George, we can look at the null issues.
Yep, let me find that as soon as we finish up here.
Triage.
Cool. Oh, sorry, Evans.
Yeah, triage.
Triage, thank you. Yeah, that triage queue is actually getting a little long. I was trying to, I did a couple of issues, but yeah, thanks for the hard work, Evans. Probably should have been a shout out. Anything else in the final minute? Otherwise, we can finish up.
I got a quick question. Is anybody giving Helm talks in London?
George,
Yes, we
got the 3 of us had one that was accepted.
So there's a maintainer talk, and then there is a Helm for Contribfest, if I remember correctly.
Correct.
And it was George and Scott and wait, who's giving that?
We can send you who's doing it.
Robert?
It's like two of us are doing one, and 3 of us are doing one, and 3 of us doing another, I think.
I'll ask you then, Scott, offline, right?
Yeah. I'll send it to you. But I'm also not sure. We might have there might be other Helm talks that like maintainers aren't giving, or maybe some are, but that'd be nice to get a list together and socialize. If you want to help look into that.
I mean, I'll just, well, yeah. Actually, I'll just.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, thank
Right.
you. We'll finish up. Have a good day, everyone, and speak next week. We're offline.
Bye.